call the meeting to order. It's time to begin. If you would, please rise. We'll have the invocation.
Let's pray together. Holy God, we are always grateful for this community, and we ask for your blessing, your mercy, your compassion, your love to be poured out on all of us. For our leaders, we ask for your Spirit to come. Give them wisdom as they work together, as our community leaders work together for the betterment of all. We ask you again to come this night. Help us to feel your presence as we grow together, as brothers and sisters, neighbors, as we welcome those who come to our community. We thank you for this place and this time. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Looks like we have 6 present. Commendations, proclamations, awards, special presentations. We have with us this evening Ms. Sarah Hoffner, one of our honorary aldermen from the high school. So if you can come up here, we'll get a photo from someone. Here comes Lauren. Get down off the steps. So much taller.
Cool. Matter of what?
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. I never saw it. If you step to the podium and give us a few words, it'd be great. Go get us scratched up real good.
What do you want me to say?
Tell us about it.
Let's see. I'm the vice mayor of the Mayor's Youth Council, and I'm a part of the band and the student council and NHS. If you want to know about the high school, we had homecoming 2 weeks ago, and that was pretty good. It went off pretty good. Let's see. What else is happening?
Anything happening at the high school?
I'm thinking. Last week they had an undercover, like the teachers have been doing undercover days where they bring random stuff, and last week the students did a one where they brought not backpacks, so you could bring anything but a backpack, and then the teachers wore backpacks, so that was cool. I wasn't there, but it was cool. And so yes.
Plans for college.
I actually recently went and auditioned at St. Olaf College in Minnesota, and that's where I want to go to study sociology and political science with concentration in public health. So that's where I want to go. So.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so the mayor can't read the agenda, and apparently I missed the public hearing, so we'll suspend for just a moment and come back to the public hearing. So we had 2 items for public hearing, some zoning things. So the first one is a public hearing on a request to rezone a parcel located at 381 Firetown Road from general commercial C2 to neighborhood commercial C3 zoning district. Is anyone here this evening to speak to that item for a public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing for that item. And the second public hearing item was a public hearing on the voluntary annexation request of a parcel along Short Springs Road with the plan of service, Coffee County map 109, parcel 49.06. Is anyone here to speak to that item for a public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on that item and move back into our regular agenda. Comments from citizens. Did we have anyone sign up for comments for citizens? Is there anyone that wanted to speak to any item at this time? Moving right along, that makes that easy. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? A motion from Alderman Wilson, second from Alderman Glick. Any discussion? If not, let's vote. Agenda's approved, 7-0. And reports from the alderman. Let me start over here with Alderman Byrd this time.
Thank you. I was able to attend the Tullahoma Sports Council Hall of Fame induction dinner. Congratulations to all of those that were honored there. I was able to attend the Chamber of Commerce annual banquet. It was incredible to see all the people who have been helping our community throughout the years. At TAEDC, we had a presentation from Mill and Bedford for Retail Strategies. They are a long-term partner in helping attract businesses to Tullahoma. We currently have 25 big names that would like to be in Tullahoma. There are also 2 prospective companies that could bring 600 new jobs to Tullahoma. And a word about Winston Brooks. He was chosen by Air Force Material Command to be a member of the Civic Leadership Program, and he will be attending meetings at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where he can express how the Air Force supporting growth at AEDC will help our city and help address the needs of our city and AEDC. And that's all I have.
All right, Alderman Wilson.
Thanks, Mayor. I would like to, with the Go Green Council, I would like to just draw everybody's attention to an event that's coming up here on Saturday, March 1st. It's really exciting. I've been collaborating with the Tennessee Environmental Council as well as our Parks and Rec Department with many of our departments, but there's going to be a Recycle Roundup event. And this is pretty exciting because they're taking a whole slew of things that you can bring that day. This is in our agenda, so I would invite everybody to take a look at that. That's in our agenda, and it's also on the City of Tullahoma Facebook with a list of everything that you can bring for that day. So I hope everybody participates in that. Tires, electronics, medical supplies, there's just a whole bunch of stuff that sometimes it's hard to find a place to get rid of that. So that'll be exciting.
Thank you. Alderman McGee.
Thank you, Mayor. I did attend the homecoming game at the high school about 2 weeks ago. Both the girls and boys team, they won their game. I tell you, the boys, that game was so exciting. The gym looks amazing. I'm a little late seeing the renovations, but it looks amazing. I also attended the Sports Council Hall of Fame banquet, and just want to say congratulations to all of the honorees. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Cliff Mathis.
I did attend the Sports Council. I tell you, what they do to that gymnasium is unbelievable. You go in there and you look at it and you say, well, this is not a gym. It's just absolutely wonderful what they've done. And you're to be commended yourself, young man. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thanks, sir. Alderman Glick.
I've been working on and I've written up a alternative proposal for the naming policy, the facility and asset naming policy, and I would like to get that added on maybe to the agenda of the study session where we could talk about it. I could, this week, I could email it out to everybody and to you and Jason and to get the ball rolling on that. I'll highlight in what I wrote up what the major points of it are, but it's pretty straightforward, but it's a lot better policy than what the current ordinance is now. So once we do it, it will have to be written up as an ordinance and I guess go through 2 readings to replace the current ordinance. And also I wondered if in the meantime they could do some research on where that is played. I could see why Jason had such a hard time finding the current ordinance about it. It's buried in the section of the city code of ordinances in sidewalks. And I don't know why that it would be there. It seems like a very strange place. So maybe that was what they were doing at the time. I don't know, but it's for all, it's a comprehensive policy. So maybe we could do some research, see how we could get it put into a better section where it'd be easier found.
Sounds good.
That's all I had.
Alderman Comer.
I too had an opportunity to attend the chamber banquet. It's been 4 or 5, maybe even longer than that, since I had attended, but I was duly impressed. Our chamber is the first vision that a lot of people see in this community, and I can tell you it's in good hands with Hope and her group. The enthusiasm of just the people involved in it is
energized me quite a bit. I think we really do have a bright future in this town. I had an opportunity to sit by actually one of the people that is on the TUA board, and they were got into discussion, how'd you end up in Tullahoma? They were from California. And you see that happening a lot. And I think that speaks very highly. A lot of times I think we get caught up in how we compete with the surrounding communities on they're growing 10%, we're growing that. I always look for quality instead of quantity. And if we continue to bring in the people like the folks I sit next to, I think we're going to be okay. The other thing is I am attending the TUA, Tullahoma Utility Authority Legislative is having the group in Nashville tomorrow night, so I will have an opportunity to meet with some of our legislators, and besides talking about water, electricity, I will be talking about other things related to our community. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Mayor's report. So yes, I also attend the Sports Council. I want to echo Alderman Mathis' comments about how good that looked. That big red T up there, that was awesome. Keep that one. Whatever you do, that looked really good. And if anybody hadn't seen that, would like to see it, it is out on YouTube, because LightTube covered that event. The video's out there on YouTube, and I would encourage you to go watch the comments from the honorees. I was impressed with every single one of them with the humility they accepted their awards and thankfulness, and if you don't go listen to Lamont, you just missed out. So, so that was a great event. And the Chamber Gala the same way. There's a lot of people recognized, and that was a great event. And I'll just mention kind of one of the big ones at the end of the night every year is Citizen of the Year, and congratulations to Max Christopher for that. I think sometimes people think about the Chamber, they think of big businesses, but the Chamber is really made up of many, many small businesses who are all represented there and do great things for our community, and that was a great event. I just wanted to add my congratulations to Winston as well on the Citizen Leadership Program, the CLP, for AEDC, or for the Air Force, really. It's an Air Force initiative. Our previous representatives were Brian Skelton, and he had to come off of that group. He served on that for many years and represented us very well, and I'm sure Winston will do the same for us, and so congratulations to him. That's all I've got. This is a report from the City Administrator.
All right, I'll keep this brief. Winston and I, along with members of the Tennessee Economic and Community Development Program, we were able to give 3 awards, and the mayor was there,
Yeah, I was
3
there.
awards
How about
to Tullahoma businesses that had reached the 100-year-plus plateau as far as being in business. We were able to sit and meet with Florence and others at Clayton Shoe Store and present that, as well as for those members at Traders Bank, and then also for Builder Supply. And I think that was just an outstanding way for the state to recognize what's being done in our town as far as businesses that started here, been here, and continue to thrive. So I thought that was outstanding. A couple of notes from Public Works. Striping on Cedar Lane was done last week. It occurred from Wilson Avenue to Jackson. So want to say thank you to Butch and his team for getting that done. A couple of notes. Avoca Road is going to be closed starting tomorrow at the sort of at the fork with Riley Creek Road. It's going to be about 500 feet northeast, and that's for us to put a drain culvert installation, and hopefully that won't take much more than 10 days at the most. Leaf pickup ends on the 28th, so at the end of the month we will no longer be picking up leaves, so hopefully everybody will take advantage of that. And something Butch brought to me, which I thought was outstanding, he reported what our revenues were off of recycling last year. And so for the year of 2024, we had over $250,000 in revenue that was earned off of recycling. And so I just want to applaud Public Works, Butch, and all those that continue to do such a great job servicing our community. Just can't say enough about those folks. Employees of the month for January, we had Patrolman Tyler Jones and Derek Bowles, and then also Tullahoma Fire Department Engineer Joseph Hale. They did things that were above and beyond the call of duty. I think we've all heard about cat rescues, and we've heard about duck rescues, so they were recognized for that. And then also lastly, just want to say thank you to Robin Morrison. You can tell that she's up there sitting in for Lori Ashley, who is not with us tonight, and just wanted to thank Robin for stepping in the way that you have and all that you do for us.
Thank you. All right, next item is consent agenda. We have a motion for the consent agenda. Oh, we're already voting, okay. That works. Fast. I was going to call it pretty quick, but she beat me to it. That's great. All right, so 7 yes on the consent agenda. Unfinished business. We have an ordinance from the last time. This is the second hearing tonight. Ordinance number 1643. An ordinance to extend the terms of office of present members of the Board of Education of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee for passage on second and final reading. And the purpose of that, just as a reminder, is not that we just are letting them serve longer, but we're trying to make the terms coincide with even year numbers so we don't have to have a special election in this odd year this summer just for 2 members of the school board. So if there's no discussion on that, we already have a second and a motion and a second from Alderman Byrd and Alderman McGee. Anyone else want to discuss that anymore? Not, we'll vote. Seven yes, so that moves that election. New business, so we have a number of items here. Ordinance 1642, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee as set forth in the Tullahoma Municipal Code to rezone a parcel located at 381 Flowertown Road from General Commercial C2 to Neighborhood Commercial C3 zoning district for passage on the first of 2 readings. Mr. Quick, do you want to give a brief explanation of that, or do we?
Yes, this was approved by the Planning Commission. I'm trying to look at the date. This was approved sometime back by the Planning Commission.
It was in January, I think.
Basically, we have a resident that's looking to go from C2, which is commercial only, that will allow him to have a neighborhood residential opportunity. He is looking to add some residences there at that location on Flowertown.
Any other discussion? Just for reference, I'm on the Planning Commission. We got a couple here, but this gentleman's already living in this location, and so we're just trying to make it where they can continue to do that along that road. It's not fully developing out yet. Do we have a motion? Motion by Alderman Gee, second by Alderman Glick. There's no discussion. Let's vote. 7 yes. That one passes on first reading. Next item, business resolution number 2017, a resolution by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Tullahoma to adopt a plan of service and annex a parcel along Short Springs Road, Coffee County Tax Map 109, parcel 49.06. Mr. Quick?
This is another one, looking just to be annexed. I'm going to let Sam Luthi come forward if anyone has any questions on that.
If you have any questions on this, I'd be more than happy to answer it. But this property is located on Short Springs Road. They're looking to annex. It is surrounded on, I think, almost all 4 sides by properties that are within the town or the city. This one's just looking to get annexed on that one. It is compliant with the future land use map, and the Planning Commission unanimously approved this one with a positive recommendation and passed it on to you at the meeting on November 11th, 2024.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions about that?
Question, what's the intended use?
A residential.
Okay.
It is currently zoned R1, and they have not made any indication, at least to me at this point, of wanting to rezone it to anything other than R1. And all the surrounding properties and the future land use also coincides with that R1 use.
Is there any immediate plans for the use of it once it's brought in?
I believe so. Again, they haven't submitted anything to me yet,
Okay.
so I'm not aware of that. But as it stands, the only thing they could really do on the property would be using it for a residential use.
This is to adopt a plan of service for that. Will the actual ordinance to adopt it be at a future meeting, or?
This is what was presented to the Planning Commission. I'd have to check with Robin to see what we would need to do
I
to make
thought
sure
that
that
was in our
gets...
agenda packet
I
already.
think, well, there was a public hearing, I think, that was one of the public hearings, but usually there's a ordinance to adopt to rezone it. That has to be done on 2 readings, and then just a resolution where we adopt the plan of service.
We're not needing to rezone it, are we?
No, sir.
This is an
Okay.
annexation of existing ROA.
Oh, well, the annexation, don't we have to vote to, this is a plan of service, but don't we have to vote to annex the property?
I thought that's what we were doing
Maybe.
tonight.
It's just a plan of service, according to this one.
It should
And
be-
to annex.
Oh,
Adopt
okay.
plan of service and to annex.
And to
Plan of
annex,
service
okay.
is included here.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Do you know what page, can y'all, Mr. Quick, somebody point me to that page?
I can comment on this, Mayor.
Yep.
There is a process that we'll
Page
go through.
7.
We've done this before. I'm not prepared to discuss exactly what the process is. We will come back before the board again. This is not the last time we'll be acting on that. I will look into that process and initiate it after you'll enact this resolution tonight.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of, normally we adopted the plan of service after we actually annexed it. Is that the,
It's part of the process.
oh, right, yeah, I knew it was, yeah.
But help me out a little bit. If it's not part of the city, how do we know it's a R1?
Because that is what is on the future land use, so it would come in under R1.
It's inside our urban growth boundary.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it, so I just thank you for the education, I guess.
Yes, Sam, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we can only annex inside our urban growth boundary, and everything in the urban growth boundary is on the future land use map,
Yes, sir.
correct? Yeah.
Which I'm not familiar with, but.
All right. Any other questions on this one?
I have, I'm sorry. I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question. So, just for clarity, are we adopting the plan? I think Mayor Blake said the annexing comes before the adoption. Is that what you said earlier?
Well, I thought normally that, I know adopting the plan of service is part of the annexation process. I thought generally we did that afterwards, but I don't know, maybe you have to do it before. I can't remember, but I know there's 2 separate actions that we take.
Yes, I think you're right, Mr. Glick, there are 2 separate actions. I think the reason that it's here now is because if you'll look on page 25, there's the TCA statute there that it says that after the planning commission reviews it and they prepare this plan, it has to come before the board within 90 days. They did this back in November, so they're probably just trying to get this within the timeline before you all at the appropriate time so that we can come back once it's finalized and do the second part that you're referring to.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Worsham says he's got the plan for that back at the office, so that we can look at that and then bring it back before the board, the
Okay.
second part of that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to
So-
make sure something didn't slip through the crack or something.
So page 26 says a resolution to adopt a plan of services.
At page 25, Mayor.
Yes.
That number 1 under the planning considerations.
Yes.
Refers to that TCA statute, and that's where they're required to bring it before the board within 90 days of them
Yeah.
approving it. Sounds like they approved it back in November, so they're probably just trying to get this in before the board within that 90-day period.
I understand, but I'm saying, is this resolution 2017 is what we're voting on? It is a plan of services, right?
That I don't know, is this the correct plan that you want those?
Yes, this is the plan of services that was approved by the Planning Commission at the November meeting.
It says it's attached to Exhibit B. Yeah, it's right there on page 30, plan of services.
What's the difference between the plan of services and annexation? What are you getting under the plan of services first before it's annexed?
Our plan of service is something that the city writes up that says how we're going to service the property once it's annexed, how we are going to provide it fire protection, police protection, what access they'll have to parks and recreation, and, school system and everything, just telling how that we'll be able to take care of the property that we're annexing.
And that's detailed on page 30, as far as the different.
I had seen that, but I was just wondering how to offer the services before you even annex it. What you're virtually doing is stating once in the city, wouldn't you automatically get those things anyway?
Yeah, I think that's the point, though, is that it's possible you could have a property, for example, where you couldn't get a fire truck to it.
Okay,
Well,
so
then
we're
you'd
just
have to,
stating
then
what's
you'd have to have a plan to be able to provide that service
I
somehow,
got you.
some
And
way.
like you don't maybe provide the trash service and things that we normally would get in the city of Tullahoma city limits.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But if we looked at it, if the plan of services required us to, build some major infrastructure for a single house, we might think about whether we wanted to adopt that plan of services. That's why
Or
it's
annex the property,
important. Or annex
yeah.
the property.
Are you
Right.
Yeah, I got you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. We have a motion second, so if you're prepared, let's vote. I'll give you an error. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Cernovia still
I'm
speaking.
sorry.
Cernovia's still speaking.
Yeah, don't know what.
All right. Seven yes. All right. So we may see part of that back again, sounds like, but in any case, we've adopted that. Resolution 2019, a resolution by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Tullahoma, Tennessee, to amend the City of Tullahoma FY25 operating budget. I assume Ms. Wilson's going to explain this to us.
Sure, Mayor. This was a request from the Board of Education to amend their budget based on additional receipts that they were awarded by the state in the amount of $284,415 for academic achievement. And so to amend their budget, it then has to come back to be incorporated into ours.
Yep. And I believe all the detail that was included in our packet. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Wilson?
I do. It's my understanding that any time we change the budget and it goes up for the school, we cannot reduce that.
This is a state.
You're talking about-
Yeah, I didn't know the state versus the city. So this is strictly the state
This is
giving
the
us
state
money, and
providing
we
this.
don't have to worry about matching it or doing
No, this is
it. Good enough.
Yep.
another source.
Thank you.
That's with our, like our hotel motel tax, those sorts of things.
Sounds like a plan.
Any other questions? We have a motion from Mr. Glick and a second from Ms. McGee. Let's vote. It's 7 yes. Voting to accept money is always an easy vote, for the most part. Number 7, agenda item 25-17, request from the city administrator to approve the City of Tullahoma FY 2026 budget adoption calendar as presented. I believe that was presented in our calendar. Does Ms. Wilson or Mr. Quick have any comments about the budget calendar?
It's budget time again.
Yeah.
So basically, we looked at the calendar that we had last year and made the revisions and changes to dates and some of the events that will be occurring. But it's pretty self-explanatory. There are definitely a lot of study sessions in there, so our departments can go in and explain what they're looking for as far as from the 25-26 budget. But we need you to adopt that budget before we can, or that calendar before we can start the process.
So we have a motion from Ms. Wilson, a second from Mr. Byrd. Is there any other discussion on that? And if not, we'll vote. Seven yes. Officially starting budget season. Agenda item 25-18, a request from the Finance Department to request a motion to rescind Resolution 2014, a resolution to allow the City of Tullahoma to participate in the State of Tennessee 401K defined contribution plan. We have a motion and a second on that for discussion. I keep forgetting to ask for. Thank you. Motion from Mr. Byrd, second from Ms. Wilson. Ms. Wilson? Sorry, should say Alderman Wilson.
When we first were looking into this from the state, we were unaware of a lot of the changes regulatory-wise that have been made, and we weren't informed of them either, that as of 2024, the federal government changed a lot of the 401K as far as how you offer it, how you have to track all your part-time people, how you have to make this available to everybody, but then track who's eligible, who's not eligible, how they have to opt out instead of just voluntarily opting in. It's very cumbersome to function in it. So at this time, and with this payroll system, it's not to our advantage to actually implement for the few people that would actually have advantage of this. Being that we already have a 457 plan, which is somewhat similar, but much less regulated.
Okay.
Now, we may want to bring this back to you at some point in time in the future if we have a new payroll system and if it appears to be that some of the regulations have maybe changed. But at this point, it's not really to our advantage to implement.
Thank you. Any questions?
The only question I had on that is it necessary for us to vote to rescind, or could you just not participate? You know, we've given you the approval that you can participate, but that doesn't say we said you had to participate. Can we just not vote on it, and then you still have the approval out there? So if you do update your system later, you could do it without coming back for approval again?
That's a good question. MTAS suggested that we rescind it. It was their recommendation that we do that.
That's fine.
I would say that in future boards, if this went on for a while, they might not even be aware they'd approved it, and then somebody could come approve it without their kind of knowledge. It's probably a good idea to rescind it because of that. Yep. All right, so we do have a motion and second. Anyone else? All right, let's vote. Seven yes. Agenda item 25-19, a request from the city administrator to approve the temporary emergency shelter facility use agreements with the American Red Cross and authorize the mayor to execute same. Mr. Quick?
So basically what you'll have are two different agreements, one for D.W. Wilson, the other one for CD Stamps. This allows for American Red Cross to use those two facilities in the case of an emergency. We've been doing this for quite a while. This is just us making sure that we have an agreement on file with them. Pretty self-explanatory, I believe.
Anyone have any questions about that one?
I got one
Mr.
question.
Tony?
How would the utilization of it, how is that determined? Could they just walk in tomorrow and say, we've had a disaster, or give me an idea. They can use the facility.
In the case,
what's the process?
Right.
Yeah, what's the process?
Basically, they would inform me, I would inform JP. We would know, obviously it's going to come through, unfortunately, something like a tornado, I think would probably be the most common. They would notify us, we would make the facility available to them. Our staff would be there to support them, but they would basically, for lack of a better term, they would be in charge of the show.
Okay, so we're just offering space, we're not.
Correct.
Our personnel is only for the taking care of the city's portion.
Correct.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, let's vote. Seven yes. Agenda item 25-20, a request from the city administrator to approve the closure of Big Springs Avenue by TDOT beginning Tuesday, May 27th, 2025, and reopening the intersection on Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Mr. Quick?
So if you'll remember at our last board meeting, Mr. Carpenter from the Tennessee Department of Transportation came and made a request on closing Big Springs Avenue at Wilson Avenue. Last week, Butch Taylor and I met with both Clint Carpenter and with Houston Tanner with TDOT. They're both here tonight. And basically what we were trying to do is figure out what is the best route for us to try to take care of their concerns for safety and our concerns for ingress, egress off of that. They did an outstanding job of explaining what the concern was with safety, and for, although I'm not an engineer, the way that they're going to have to work on this bridge, they're going to have an excavation site of anywhere from 18 to 20 foot deep right there at the right-hand turn from Big Springs onto Wilson. The way that would be set up is if you're going to be taking a right onto Wilson, you're going to go into the other direction of traffic in order to make that turn. The turn is such a 90-degree turn that they're concerned for safety. So when we looked at that, what would have the less impact on that? And we all came to the agreement we would close it down the day after Memorial Day on the 27th, I believe that is, and we would let that stay closed until the end of July. In looking at that, had conversations and had feedback from police, from fire, from Tullahoma City Schools, and from Public Works, which are included in your packet. And I shared those with Mr. Carpenter and with Mr. Tanner on what those concerns were. The plan would be to open that up for ingress in the mornings, egress in the afternoons, make it a one lane when school went back into session. In order for us to do that, we're going to have to station patrolmen, SROs, or crossing guards. In talking with Mr. Carpenter, that is an expense that the Tullahoma Department of or Tennessee Department of Transportation would be willing to take on. So we've been able to do that. I think what I want you to hear from me is I am so excited about the relationship that we have with TDOT. If you really look at it from a granular perspective, they didn't have to ask our permission or ask our input. They have the ability and the right of way in order to close that down, but in order to work closely with us, they wanted us to be a part of the conversation, and we feel good about where this is at the moment. And we've also talked about, as that shuts down and as construction progresses, we're going to be meeting on a regular basis to see how it's progressing, if there's any other alterations that we need to make to this plan. The goal is the football game, I think, is on August 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. That is by far, that is the goal. We want to make sure we can have it done by then. Now, we know how that works. Rains, other factors could come in that could cause delays, but that's what we feel like is the best for the community and for TDOT in order to get their work done.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'd say the only, might keep that in mind when you're planning the 4th of July celebration down there, and I'm glad that they did this sooner rather than later to get it done before football season, hopefully. With the dates that I see here, it shouldn't really be affecting the school system much, will it?
It shouldn't. In talking, Dr. Stevenson and I talked or communicated quite a bit on what activities would be there. Obviously they have some sporting events and whatnot. The biggest one would be graduation that would be impacted. During the summer, the campus is not very active. You'll have athletes that may be on site, maybe a few teachers, but the traffic will be bare minimum. So the impact to the school is going to be, next to nothing as far as summer goes.
Some of the discussion I had with Mr. Quick the other day is that date is a goal. That opening date is the goal, it's not a fact, right? So you could slip.
Right.
And it would impact the school a little more.
You got to have a goal.
You got to have a goal.
You got to shoot for the middle.
That's right.
Well, in fact, we've already done some adjustment. Dr. Stevens reminded me of the citywide invocation that the school system has on the 24th, I believe it is. So we may see if we could do some alteration for that date if need be for them.
Yeah. So a motion and a second. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matthew. Just raise your hand and wave at me because I'll miss it. Sorry.
I did have a question that Mr. Carpenter might be able to answer. I know we just spoke about this being a goal. Is there any slippage that is built into that schedule for if we do have rainy days, if we have days that are black flag days where you can't work because it's too hot?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay.
Not a whole lot, but that's a pretty dependable time of year for working days. June, July is usually the most productive times for us, so we feel good about it.
All right. And is this going to have any impact on Craft Lane? I spoke with some of the business owners. Their concern was that's where they get deliveries from.
So, not directly from me, but from TDOT, but I'm sure, high schoolers already use Craft Lane when Big Springs gets backed up. They might see a little more increased traffic if we're not done when school opens back up, but I can't shut down Craft Lane too, it's technically a private road, and I think we're building a good relationship with Jason, and hopefully we're going to be focused on when school, if we're not done yet, when school gets back in session, educating teachers, the school system that, hey, this is what's going to be happening. This is what we hopefully get everybody on board with what's going on. And
during our conversation, we did talk about the closure of Craft Lane, but I went and met with John over at CG Model Tech, and he receives 2 to 3 tractor trailer loads a week. There's no turning radius for them, so they have to be able to go in one side of Craft Lane in order to come out of the other. There's some warehouses that are owned across the street on the other side that also have that same issue. So in order to close Craft Lane, it would be a tremendous impact on those companies, and we all decided that's just not in their best interest for us to do that.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So if there's no other questions, let's vote. Seven yes, and we appreciate the cooperation with TDOT.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Agenda item 25-20, or that, I'm sorry, that's where it just was. Sorry. So that's the last one of those. So that adjourns our regular meeting, and we'll call to order the Beer Board meeting. Did we have any public comments for the Beer Board meeting? I don't think we do. We have no unfinished business. The only item of business we have is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Item number 25-BB02, approved minutes of the January 27th, 2025 regular meeting. We have a motion and a second on that, and if there's no discussion on that, let's vote. Passes 7-0. No other business. We stand adjourned.
Good.